Hello, hello. 10 seconds left. Let's see how we do. Okay. We need to shoot fluff bolts to break balloons. If the fluff bolt hits a balloon of its own color, continues flying, and can pop subsequent balloons. Okay, so if we shoot a red one, it'll break the green one and hit the green one and stop. The green one will hit the red one and stop. Balloon will hit the blue and go through, hit the green one as well. Okay. 7 fluff bolts are needed. Okay, so they're always shot in the sequence red, green, blue, R2. Cool. Okay. So if we grab sample input, input today is easier, and then we just need to go through the list. So balloon of bolts equals 0, all the sequence is non-empty. We can turn it to a list to make it a bit easier. We can do that. Then we can do, I suppose we can do like while we'll do this loop again in the middle. We'll pop the first balloon, and then if it's not equal to the bolt color, then we'll stop. So we'll break out of this loop. And then we'll set the bolt to the next one. And then we'll increase the number of bolts total by 1. A2 part 1 gives us 7. And this gives us 131. Excellent. Okay, I'll get back to it later. I know I'm going a bit fast, but during Grand Festivals, balloons are arranged at perfectly equal intervals in the shape of a circle, and they are fired in a way such that they fly through the center. If it pops the first balloon, okay. I see. Only if it was even, and then they're rearranged to be centered. We need to repeat 100 times and construct a circle. So GGBR, we repeat this 5 times for a demonstration. All right, the lowest number is always at the top. So GGBR looped. Red bolt fails, and then this one, green bolt goes through, but it's odd. Blue bolt goes through and pops both. Okay. Interesting. So, okay, so if we grab the sequence again, I'll set the repeat value to be 5 for now. Most of this is still the same, while length sequence is greater than 0. This section is all that needs to be changed. So if the length of the sequence is even, or if it's odd, then we pop the first balloon, and nothing else happens. Otherwise, we pop the first balloon and see if we can pop the balloon across from it as well. I should do times repeat here. Otherwise, we see if the first balloon is equal to the bolt, then we'll also pop the middle balloon, which the index of that one will be the length of the sequence divided by 2. We can imagine if we have 4 balloons, then 4 divided by 2 is 2, and the index at 2 is here, which is the one across from the first balloon. And then either way, we pop the first balloon. Theoretically, we try this on our demo of GGBR. Should give us, this does not, that'll give us 14. We try this example and repeat 10 times, we should get 304. And 100 times should give us 2955. So now we just need to try this on our real input. This might take a while because I was wrong. 21407. Cool. Perfect. Now finally, we need to repeat it 100,000 times. All right. I imagine this solution is going to be too slow, and you probably need to do this more intelligently. Oh, how big is this sequence? This is 256. This is it's still the same. I think that's going to be a bit large to do trivially. How else can we approach this problem? I have a feeling that the sequence forms a pattern, but I'm not sure if I can prove it. Well, let's just do some experimentation here. Original equals this, for repeat and range, I guess 1 up to 100. We can make the sequence equal to original times repeat, and then each time we can print out the number of volts. So I'll leave this running just in case it somehow finishes. Day 1/part 3. Sorry, day 2 part 3. Okay. I suspect this forms some sort of pattern. Maybe? Let's see how much the value increases by each time. Okay, so it doesn't look like an extremely trivial pattern, at least. Okay, interesting. Um, hmm. I wonder. No, just making this a queue would not help here, I think. Not substantially, at least. It would be a bit. It would actually. It might be. Yes. Is it pop left? I think. I don't know if you can splice decks like this, but pop takes no arguments. Okay, so not quite. That makes sense. The length of the list is 256 times 10,000. Sorry, times 100,000. So 256 times that is 25 million, which is easily fine. It's just that these operations are taking too long. I think what we do is we put the list into 2 decks. We split it into the front half and the back half, and then we just rebalance each time necessary. So that way the content of each loop is L1. So in that case, we'll want to take the uh that, and then want to split into the left half and the right half. So, and then we'll do L sequence equals deck of the left half and R sequence equals deck of the right half. And then while the length of L sequence or R sequence is greater than 0, and if there's an odd number, we always want the left sequence to be larger. So if the length of the two sequences are different, then it's odd. So we just do left sequence dot pop left, because we always make the left one have more. And then if they are equal, then if the first one is fine, then we pop from both. Otherwise, if they're equal, but we are only popping the first balloon, we'll want to pop it and then move the first balloon from the right sequence to the left sequence. So LC dot pop left, and then LC dot end RC dot pop left. And this should hopefully be fast enough. Let me first try this on 100 to see if this even gives the correct answer. 21254 is not correct unless they change the input, which I find unlikely. Oh, they did. Okay. So now we just try this on 100,000 and pray that it works. In the meantime, I suppose I can sort of oh, oops, that was fast. Perfect. Great. Fantastic. What's the leaderboard looking like today? Oh. Nobody else yet. Okay. I think I probably was the only person streaming this today. Was there anyone on yesterday's? Yeah, yesterday we had both Jonathan and Uncle Scientist who streamed later. So I guess today for now it's just me. The others might stream later today, I suppose. But yeah. Overall, must say pretty happy with today. I know I went through today's pretty fast in the first two, so let's go back through them, I suppose. Let's read through the story slowly together. I wouldn't quite be myself if I didn't have a little scheme for extracting coins from children's piggy banks too. After all, why stop at grown-ups when the youngsters are walking around with pocket money practically begging to be spent? What do children absolutely... Thanks, Emil. Thanks for the challenge. I found today's very fun. The last one took me a bit to think about, but I've seen similar problems, so that helped me here. After all, I stop at grown-ups and the youngs. Yes. Balloons, of course. Big, bright, bouncy ones, and especially when they go pop. Add a bit of tension, a dash of competition, and the unmistakable twang of a crossbow string, et voila. So if you happen to spot a mob of wide-eyed children at the festival, clustered around a cheerful crossbowman joker taking aim at a floating sea of balloons, that's a mouthful. Rest assured that's one of my finest coin harvesting devices in full swing. It's colorful, it's loud, and it's profitable. Okay, so it shoots out fluff bolts in sequences of red, green, then blue, repeating in a sequence. There are 3 colors of balloons as well, and when a fluff bolt hits a balloon, it will pop it, and we want to guess how many shots are required. If a fluff bolt hits a balloon of its own color, it keeps going through, and otherwise it will stop. Yeah, part of the reason I'm streaming this one is to try to bring more attention to this one. the reason I don't stream Advent of Code is because it's specifically requested that you don't stream that one in real time, because then you give away the solution to two frogs in chat. Very nice. Check your progress below your answer. Huh. That's cool. That's very neat. Nice. I like that. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, Advent of Code specifically requests that we don't stream in real time, because then everyone else can just follow along and get the answer. For this one, they have a streamer and an AI leaderboard separately. Now, granted, this is still depending on people using AI being honest, but hopefully that should help. I do like that this event does like give a bit more what's it called? Give a bit more direct support towards content creators and vice versa. Like you can see here that I get a little streamer badge to indicate that I'm a streamer on the leaderboard, and you can click on that to view my channel. So it makes it a bit more obvious who you can look for to if you want to see like coding walkthroughs or live streams, as well as a GitHub link. So that's pretty neat. But for this one, since they have a special streamer leaderboard, and I talked to Emil about it, who's the creator of this challenge, and basically the idea is if people are going to cheat, they cheat using AI or something else anyway. So I was specifically invited to stream this, and I always like good coding challenges, and I think this is really well made, and I've had a lot of fun with it so far. So, you know, perfect chance to warm up for AOC, get some more content out, because I know I don't do that enough, and provide y'all with some other ideas for challenges you can tackle outside of Advent of Code. Continuing with this, for the first part, this was pretty simple. We just loop through each of the bolt colors, so long as our sequence is still non-empty. And then each time we fire off a bolt, we repeatedly pop the first balloon until it is a color that mismatches, in which case we pop it anyway. It's very funny that the term for removing the item from the list here is pop. That's actually quite funny. I like that. Then we stop this inner loop and go on to the next bolt. So the first part's pretty simple. For the second part, we have our balloons arranged in a circle. We fire the bolt down the top. So that's also fairly straightforward. If the number of balloons is odd, then as specified somewhere, here, as specified here, if the number of balloons is odd, then no matter what, it won't pop a balloon on the opposite side. So we don't need to check. Otherwise, if there are an even number of balloons, we check if the first one matches in color, then we pop the one opposite as well. And then either way, we pop the first balloon that we shoot. And for the last problem, it's basically the same thing, but the sequence is extremely large. So I'll roughly visualize what I'm doing here. So like, let's suppose what on earth? Let's suppose we have a sequence of 8 balloons. So the way we did it in the first place was we had a list that starts on this side and then goes around to this side. So it's just one list. We strike the first balloon and the balloon in the middle, and each time we remove it, because of the way data structures in Python work, it needs to shift all of the elements left in the memory index. And so this was fine for the initial case, but when our input size is 25.6 million, that is too inefficient, because we are doing a loop to loop through, at worst case, every single balloon in the list. And then if we're also shifting every element in the memory index by 1 every time, that requires a quadratic number of operations, which for 25.6 million is extraordinarily large. It's like, what, 600 quadrillion or something like that? That's never going to work, even if you're using a fast language. So what we need to do is we need to remove the shifting, And that's only inefficient because we were using a list, and a list is basically just a memory index plus a length, and then every time you shift the elements around, you need to shift all of them manually. With a deck, which stands for a double-ended queue, what that allows you to do is have a sequence of elements wherein you can add or remove to either end instantly. The reason this is important is because the slowdown came from removing the first element requires shifting all of the previous elements over. I'm not going to go too deep into the data structures. If you want to do more looking into this, it's a deck. Definitely recommend looking into that if you're not familiar with this concept. It's very useful data structure for competitive programming. What we do is we split our balloons into two lists, or two decks rather, a first half and a second half. If the number of balloons is even, then the sides will be equal in length. We will ensure that this is the case. If it's even and the first balloon matches and we can delete both, then we just delete both, and now the two lists still have the same length. And if the first balloon doesn't match and we only pop the first one but not the second one, we want to shift this balloon into the first list because we always want the left one to be longer by one or for them to be equal. This is an arbitrary decision, but it makes the most sense in my opinion. In order to do that, we need to be able to remove elements from the right side. So if we look at the left and the right, or rather the first and the second data structures, the first one we need to remove elements from the start, so delete from start. And then to do this operation, we also need to append to the end and delete from the start of the second side. And if we pop both balloons, then we just delete from the start. So for the second one, we're only ever deleting from the start. We're never adding anything. So for this one, we could have just used a list and just put it backwards because deleting from the end of a list doesn't require shifting. But that seems more complicated than just using a deck. For the first one, we need to insert or delete from the start and insert to the end. That's what a queue is. So technically, we do not need it to be double-ended queue. However, in Python, the easiest way to use a queue is to use the double-ended queue data structure. So that's what I chose to go with. So that's how we can get this to be more efficient, because now that all of these operations run at a constant speed, it's just a loop of 25.6 million. And although that isn't instantaneous, it's still going to be fast enough. You can get somewhere around like 100 or so million within a reasonable amount of time if your operations are reasonably fast. And so that's how we can get this problem too within a reasonable time constraint. Very much like today's problem, it required a bit more creativity than yesterday's. I heard from someone who commented on my stream yesterday that Jonathan Paulson used a dynamic programming solution for the last part yesterday. I didn't quite see that, but that makes a lot of sense. I had a feeling dynamic programming would probably be optimal, but I couldn't come up with it in time, and so he outpaced me on that one. Today's challenge is pretty interesting. I had a feeling when I looked at it that it would probably involve large input sizes again, and given the whole thing about popping a balloon and a balloon halfway across, I had a feeling it would involve splitting the list into two to optimize the operations a bit. So, yeah, that's about it for today's stream. I should be free to stream again tomorrow for the last quest of this story. Thank you all for watching. I'll stick around a bit in the chat to answer any questions that people might have, but otherwise, hold on. Emil says very neat solution. You can also use a LinkedIn and fuck. I've been on LinkedIn too much recently. Wow. A linked list and track 2 pointers. One for the head, second one for the middle of the list. Yeah, that's a very good point. Would you even have to use a linked list in that case? What Emil's saying is you can track the the position of the first balloon with an index. Let me put it in. Let's just use this color. We can track the position of the first balloon with an index and the position of the balloon across from it with an index. And each time if we pop just one balloon, we advance the index by one. If we pop both sides, we advance both indexes, etc. It makes a lot of sense. It's similar to the DQ method or the deck method, but instead of actually removing the elements, we just shift the pointers around. Would that be faster? Potentially. I'm not sure how decks are implemented internally. Uh, I have time. Let's give this a shot, actually. Um, so what we'll do here is we'll track two indexes. Left pointer equals 0, right pointer is in that case, we would just do sequence equals list this. Right pointer is the length of the sequence divided by 2 again. While the while condition here would be that what would be the condition here? You'd also need a No, I don't think Emil, I don't think that works. Because if you let's suppose we have our right pointer start here and our left pointer start here. Then if we only pop this one, and then we only pop this one, and then now that these two are across from each other, we pop them both, then the right pointer needs, like, we have no way of basically what I'm getting at is the right half of the thing could be popped inconsistently, and so we wouldn't just be able to track a pointer. We'd have to keep track of which ones have been popped, and that would almost definitely be less. No, that could still be efficient enough. You can just skip the indexes when you advance the pointer, but that sounds a bit more complicated. It should still work, and if you are in a language that doesn't have access to queues very easily, that would probably be simpler. You would probably need to use a bitmap to track which balloons have been popped, though. Unless I'm thinking about this wrong. Yeah, amortized, that would still be O of n, so it would have the same time complexity overall, but I think you would require a bitmap to remember which indexes to skip over as you advance your pointers. Because you can pop two balloons that are spaced out or spaced apart from each other on the right side, and then you won't be able to advance the pointer correctly, and the left pointer will eventually catch up to where the right pointer used to be, and that would probably get a bit confusing. Anyway, that is an interesting idea, but I think I'll probably leave that as an exercise to viewers. But yeah, seems like there are no other questions, so I'll stick around for a bit longer and just use the text chat, but otherwise, thank you for watching.